How are you all doing today? I'm super happy to be here. Did move it forward. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you all are doing well today. I'm super happy to be here. So today I'm going to be talking about three important land banking errors you should avoid. If you are buying in Lagos, Ibadan, or any part of the country. I want to quickly start by saying a big thank you to everybody that has been working with us. And I'm also want to say um, I appreciate everybody that has been sending their messages, their support. If I've not been able to attend to some of your questions, I sincerely apologize. I've been on movement since last week, and I can assure you that I'm also going to be on movement tomorrow. And a lot of people have also reached out to me that you make recommendations. You have been helpful. Thank you very much. Your program, your broadcast has been of immense value. I totally appreciate this, and I don't take your support for granted. So I also want to solicit that you also work with us. That your work will ensure the continuity of the good works that we're doing is for us to get good support from people like you. So please do well to subscribe. And of course, if there is any form of real estate investment you want to do, with every work that we've done so far, you will attest to the fact that we have the industry, expertise to give and of course share and give you the best when it comes to real estate investment. So I'm just going to quickly um, um, go into today's topic without wasting so much time. And I would also want to quickly state that if I have not responded to some of your inquiries, it's due to a busy schedule. Thank you. The good thing for us basically is that we are beginning to get more able hands now, so that we can share responsibilities and go as far as possible. So please, the normal tradition: subscribe, turn on the notification bell. So I'm just going to be talking about the three land banking errors you must avoid if you are investing in either Lagos, Ibadan, Abeokuta, or any part of the state. And I'm also going to be talking also on the land setbacks for the Lekki Epe Expressway. And I promised to do that in the last video. The good thing basically is that this is going to be the last um, live session for today. So I want to say a very big thank you very much. So basically, we're just going to go into it without wasting further time. Of course, if you're coming across this channel for the first time, you have seen several content and you're yet to subscribe, you know that this is where you should be, because we explain things the way they are. And of course, if you have any form of inquiries, of course I'll be showing you verified and good properties that you can invest. I'll be doing that by God's grace as from tomorrow. I'll be doing that all through the weekend. So if you have inquiries and questions, of course you are in a better position, of course, to send your question, of course. And I'll also be responding to some of the inquiries that I have today. So what are the three land banking errors to avoid? Number one, do not buy to abandon. Do not buy to abandon. Now, when I talk about buying to abandon, what exactly am I talking about? Now, a lot of people have this perception that because of the fact that the land is in a probably in a far location, is a place whereby the road is not good, the road is not accessible, and because of the fact that they are probably far from where people are. And of course, they have already given some of real estate investors this notion that you can leave it for a while, and after years it's going to appreciate in value and you can resell. They've actually sold some of these myths to real estate investors that you can resell after let's say 10 years or 5 years or 6 years, depending on the duration or the lifespan of that investment. But let me quickly let you know basically that the appreciation that comes from your real estate investment, please shut the curtain. The appreciation that comes from every real estate investment is also due to your own input. When I talk about input is of different classifications. Now, you cannot just buy a land, or the developer that sold the land to you leaves it for a while and is expecting that one miracle will happen, and of course, it will worth a value. So the first thing basically is that appreciation is subjected to some factors that I will be explaining very, very quickly today. Now, I know I am not disputing the fact that there are several instances whereby a lot of people bought Lekki Phase 1, they bought, the Magodo, they bought, the Shongotedo and other developed areas. And today, those areas have become, one of the basic investment destination. I am not disputing the fact that people who bought at that time bought at a very, very affordable rate. But what you fail to understand, or what some real estate investors don't understand basically, is that appreciation doesn't just happen overnight. Appreciation of that property is based on your input as an investor, and of course the input of the developer that are sold to you. Now, I really want to clear and of course, eradicate some myth that is basically projected to real estate investors that you can buy the land, and leave it in 10, 5, 20 years, it's going to appreciate. Truthfully, but from some of the investments I have seen, for instance, I'm also a land banker. I have bought lands and I'm still buying lands, okay? But what I have come to realize that what actually affects appreciation is the input from the investor, input from the developer that have sold, and input from the government. Now, a lot of people have properties in places like Mowe or Fada. A lot of people have, please get me handkerchief. A lot of people have properties in other developed areas, and they are quite discouraged that the appreciation that is being projected to them is not realistic. And what actually could be the problem while all this thing is happening? Number one is that appreciation is a product of input. Now, the first error that some real estate investors are still making till date, basically, is that they feel appreciation will just happen because they have left the property for a while. Did you tell her you wanted to catch you? So it doesn't just happen like that. And one of the easiest way that you will realize that I'm actually saying the truth is based on the fact that there are places we bought in some part of shift the backward. So there are some places today that we bought far back in 2018, 2019. Reduce it to 1. Okay, so what exactly is the issue? Why is that place not appreciating? Welcome, Pastor Chike. Thank you for joining us. So what are the basic factors that has affected appreciation in that area? The first thing basically is that the developer that have sold did not put the necessary infrastructure that can derive and improve appreciation. Now, when I talk about the basic infrastructures, now let me quickly make a clarification so that you will understand that when it comes to real estate investment, is a product of inputs. If the person that is selling the property to you is not making deliberate effort to improve the property, whatsoever amount of money that has been projected to you as the supposedly appreciation or the value appreciation of that property will forever remain a myth, because you need to understand that appreciation don't just happen. There's a lot of properties today that has been sold to real estate investors that even the real estate development companies that sold that properties are forgotten that they've sold property. And it is very important that when we are discussing real estate, we need to carefully examine what the problems are. So appreciation is a function of the developer making that place habitable. It does not matter how far the property is. It does not matter what should be the certain conditions that may be surrounding that properties. If there is no deliberate effort from the part of the person that have sold to you to put in the basic infrastructures. Now, if it's a land banking system, it is very important that the developer should go beyond just providing what do I say now? Providing perimeter fence and probably putting one or two flowers in front of the estate, and that's all. So appreciation cannot happen if there is no value added input to that property. Now, what are those value added inputs? Now, we know very well that development happens in phases. We know that development takes a while, but if development is not intentional, the property you have bought will become a nightmare. So what are those basic things that the developer is supposed to provide to enhance appreciation on that property? Number one, even if the developer cannot afford to do a third road, at least they should do something like an earth road. Make the property easy for access. Now, one of the major reasons why so many places today remain bush, not just because of the fact that they are far, okay, it's due to the fact that the people that have sold did not understand what the basic concept of development is. The industry is so saturated, to the point basically that what is being projected to us as development is actually the contrary to what they are doing or what they've tagged to be development. So if the developer can provide the basic infrastructure, like do the earth road, at least provide a good water system. To drill a borehole does not matter much. You see, the reason why appreciation of the properties you have bought is stagnant is due to the fact that for construction to be possible for that site is due to the fact that the basic things that can make building comfortable are not on that site. They are not. So one of the basic error you can make is to buy from a company that does not prioritize the basic development. And what should be the basic development? Number one, perimeter fencing of that property, which is very important, because you see, if you don't set clear-cut boundaries on that property, you are inviting land grabbers to show interest on that property. Then after doing the basic perimeter fencing, let them do earth road that goes into individual plot. At least create access for investors. And the most important of all is to create a good water system, so that if I want to start my construction, I won't have to drive miles or travel miles to get water. There was a particular time that I went to do a fence, because there are times that I have made it, a compulsory point of duty to supervise some of the construction. And when one of my artisans on site gave me, an estimate, a quotation of what it takes to do a general perimeter fencing on the plot that was sold to a client, I had to scream. And what could be the reason why I screamed? It's just based on the fact that the cost of working on that site was times 3, because they have to drive 30 minutes to get water. And in as much as fact that most of these things are not there, it becomes extremely difficult for input to be on that site. So if your developer is not ready to put input, if they are not ready to put the basic things, and you have mistakenly bought from such developer, you have made a costly real estate investment decision. You have. Because you see, if the person that have sold to you does not see the need to put basic, I'm not saying they should do a third road, I'm not saying they should do a good drainage system, I'm not saying they should put transformer, basically, if it's a land banking system, development like that takes phases. But the most important of all, basically, is that the most important facilities that can help people take possessions of their property be provided. So that is error number one: buying from a real estate development company that does not prioritize development. You know, the sad thing of all is that these guys charge an outrageous amount of money for development, and they've been several instances, okay, that I have confronted some of them. I said, we paid 2.5 million for development, and you collected this 2.5 from each person you sold that property to. Let's say, for instance, okay, you have 50 acres of land. If I'm paying 2.5 million and you claim that the land is sold out, now let us assume that everybody that subscribed into that property did not pay their development fee. At least you have conducted different batches of allocation. In other words, what we are trying to say is that if 10 people have given you 2.5 million for development, let us be realistic. Let us use the present economic reality of what is going on in the country. The 2.5 million that 10 people have paid should be able to do escrow to those plots, provide a basic water system, and one or two that can, the reason why most of those properties are not developed is due to the fact that there is no adequate access that has been provided by the developer. So one error you can make is to buy from a real estate developer that does not prioritize. If you do that, now if you have been doing that, a lot of people are coming to see my video for the first time. A lot of people are coming to know what I've been doing for a very long time. If you have been doing that, you have just been buying every properties that has been thrown at your doorstep, I'm saying stop it immediately. Because you see, I have taken it personally upon myself to do perimeter fencing for some of our investors. I've been to sites, and I can tell you the pain I go through simply because there are no basic infrastructures in an estate that the seller has collected millions of naira. It's very, very bad. So do not buy from a developer that does not prioritize development. Number two, do not buy from a developer that does not have intention for proper documentation. Now, one of the reasons a lot of real estate development companies today are having different nightmares, either with government or with land grabbers or with every other thing, is due to the fact that they sold undocumented lands to investors. See, if you have been following me for a while, you will attest to the fact that I will never, ever subscribe. Of course, I've done that before. That was during when I did not understand some of the things I know today. But in the present reality, I will never ask anybody to buy properties that are not properly documented. I will not do that. Now, when a developer sells a land to you, and the developer, let's say for instance now, most of those real estate developers are now going towards, some are going towards the Ekpejebu, some has even gone. Don't let me use the word go, because a lot of people have gone through that Ekpejebu. We have a lot of them in Muwe. We have a lot of them we also have them in the Korodu, because the Korodu is kind of still, we have a lot of them going. So the way development goes basically is that, in reality, let me be very, very sincere. Developers move to uncultivated places. So let's say if Ekpe, there was a particular time where Ekpe was the talk of the town. The moment Okay, Ekpe land has been exhausted. What is the next destination that is not totally far? Ijebu-Ode is an option. Ekpe Omu is an option. Ekpe Ikorodu is an option. And Ekpe Ibefun is also an option. So the way it's being done basically is that when a particular location is exhausted, when they have exhausted all the landed properties in a particular location, the next location that is closer to them is their next area of what preference. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence basically is that do not buy from a developer that does not have adequate plan for documentation. Now, when I talk about documentation, what do we mean? Now, a lot of people are calling out some real estate companies. Of course, if you have been following Scotty Guma, basically, you will agree that Scotty Guma has called out a lot of real estate companies. And one of the basic points, that they have been hammering, that he has been saying, is that they have not been allocated. Investors who bought far back in 2014, some bought far back in 2012, some bought in 2015, and the bone of contention basically is that they are finding it extremely difficult to allocate their investors. And what could be, or what exactly is the reasons why some real estate development companies are trying or are struggling to allocate? Inadequate or proper document. A lot of them did not document their property. The property they sold did not have titles. Now, one of the things I've explained basically for some of my viewers that have been following me is that it doesn't matter what has happened. As far as Lagos is concerned, it is a heinous crime, a punishable crime, to sell a property without even excision. It's a crime. And I find it extremely painful that some investors are still falling for all this, even in the 21st century, where they have access to information. The consequences is that it does not matter the number of acres you have bought, the number of hectares you have bought. If there is no proper documentation on that land, you don't have that land. Now, one of the major reasons why they cannot allocate basically is that you need to understand the way the real estate market works. I'll be more precise about Lagos. If somebody has sold a land to you and he told you this is your deed of assignment, this is your register survey, this is your blah 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 blah, in as much as fact that the land title is not registered, anybody can walk to the Lagos State Ministry of Lands and point to that where that land they've sold to you is. In as much as fact that there is no documentation on that land, the government can resell. Whoever owns title is the person government have sold to. And that is why it is very important that if you are doing real estate in Lagos, whether it is land bank, it doesn't matter where they've sold. The moment there is no adequate plan for documentation, just know that you are deliberately throwing your money into what? Into thin air. So the issue why, see, today is just talking about that company. I can assure you that there are a long list of companies that are guilty of this. The reason why they have not started calling them out is because of the fact that some of the investors that are bought from them are not aware of what I'm saying. So the reason why those companies could not allocate is that government have resold the land to people who were able to pay them for title. And our government sold to those who are ready to do proper documentation. Let me just use that expression. And a lot of things will still happen. So it doesn't matter. It is very important that in Lagos, so I don't know of other states, but in Lagos, you don't buy land without documentation. That's error number 2. Error number 2. Because the thing is that the reality now is that if I should sell a land, let's say probably I bought the land and I sold to you with survey, deed, development fee. I've sold the land. Let's say I sold it for 2 million, all inclusive. It is not realistic. Me that I've sold to you 2 million, 2.5. It is not realistic for you to now expect that out of that 2 million that you have paid, that I'm going to pay Omonile, that I'm going to pay surveyor, I'm still going to bring out part of that 2 million to do title documented. The problem that I have with most of these real estate companies basically is that many of them did their sales in secrecy. They did not inform people that this land you have bought to, you still have to go to Alausa to do what? To perfect your documentation. So going forward, error number two, do not buy if the developer does not have plan for documentation. It doesn't matter how cheap it is. Buying cheap land is like you are a tenant waiting for the property of eviction. And when will the property of eviction come? When the real owners and the real owners are people who have bought, who have paid for documentation. So going forward, don't not buy landed properties without documentation. Is either the developer has signed a contract with you that is going to document, or you, the buyer, you are willing to start the documentation as long as you have the document with you. Error number 3, do not buy if you don't have the proper land history of that community. Now, when it comes to community, I think I've shared it in most of my videos, and I love saying it all the time when I have the opportunity to do so. There are areas that if you buy, you should expect trouble. There are areas, and this is where due diligence is very, very important. Now, I think I gave an instance of when I went to, of course, I always give instance because of all the places that I've been, that particular location is so notorious for land grabbing. In fact, on the day we got to site, as the entrance, as we were driving in to the entrance where those property were, we saw armed mobile policemen along the road. The moment I sighted them, location number 1, location number 2, they were there. And in that same place where we had armed policemen, we also had Omoniles lined up, and it was so glaring that those Omoniles were not scared of what those armed policemen were going to do. And as we drove in, okay, to that location, we saw them, and these guys were ready for editing. So there are areas basically that land grabbing is a tradition. There are places whereby, see, you don't even need a soothsayer to tell you that what I'm buying is trouble. I've seen instances whereby a real estate developer has bought one particular estate 3 times. And it is not about saying that the place will develop in the future. It's not about saying that place is cheap. You see, one major error you can make as a real estate developer or as a real estate investor, one major mistake you can make is to buy only because it is cheap. You know, I've always said this because, see, there might be tendency that you have bought a land at a very cheap price. When the trouble will start, you will find out that you will pay times 3 of what you thought was very cheap. So I've seen instances whereby a real estate developer, a very good friend of mine, bought one estate, and I think he sold that land 1.5. He paid Omonile 3 times before they could allow him to use the land. So do not buy because of cheapness. Buy because your personal due diligence has revealed that that location is free. See, there are some land grabbing situations that may not happen immediately after you've bought the property. It may happen maybe a year or two after purchase. And if real estate development companies are being called out that they are not allocating, go back to this video that I'm saying. They are having issues with land grabbers. So some locations are so notorious. I myself, I cannot buy land there. So notorious. And that is why, if you have been following my videos, I've said it, that one major thing that you should pay attention to is the brand. See, if there are some real estate companies today that they will tell me that they want to buy a location. Now, if I'll first of all look at their net worth, look at their connection, look at their projects, look at their legal, their legal structure. If they say they are going to that location, trust me, I'll follow them. Because you see, there are some land battles that not only money will solve. Land battles, land tussles that not only there are some land battles that only police cannot solve. Because the truth basically is that if you choose to bring police to that site, are you saying you are going to keep those police there forever? So it is very important that you understand that some locations are no-go area as far as land banking is concerned. And a lot of real estate investors do not understand basically that when some certain people do not choose to invest in some location, it's not based on interest, it's just based on what? History. A lot of people go into investment without understanding the ancestral. There are some places today that if you buy land, when they are doing their Oru festival, if you mistakenly go there, something may happen to you. There are some places today that those traditional practices are still in vogue. There are some places they will tell you that before you must build, there are some certain things you must perform. So these are basically one of those two things that you need to understand. And if you are, as an investor, you need to have an accurate understanding of what that place requires. So don't just buy because of price. Don't let price alone. I know basically everybody's looking for a good deal, an affordable deal, something good, something affordable, which is fine. Basically, it's awesome. However, don't just make decisions only on price. So these are the 3 basic land banking mistakes that you must avoid. You must avoid them if you are tired of losing money. Now, I have a question from the previous episode where I was talking about I think I was talking about what was the topic? I'm trying to remember. I want to try to recall. I think I was talking about in this direction as well. And someone asked me a question: what if you have both? In a situation whereby you notice that the crisis is like a norm, like it keeps on happening almost all the time. My dear brothers and sisters, see, there are some things that are not do or die. Avoid that location. That's just all I'll say. So there are still some other prominent issues. So this is going to be, so I actually titled today's topic Real Estate 101, 3 important errors you must avoid when you're doing land banking. So that is error number 1. So I'm going to be talking now. So I still have some couple of errors, but let me just quickly go to the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Did I just talk about Lagos Calabar? No, let's talk about the Lekki Epe Highway. I think we've had enough of conversations concerning that, so I sincerely don't think I need to go back to that. However, I'm going to be talking about the Lagos Epe Expressway, the Lekki Epe Expressway, and I'm going to be informing you that there is a plan by Lagos State government to erect a train track, and from the information I have, I can categorically tell you that the plan is to have that train all the way from Aja. Is it even from Aja? Okay. The train is supposed to come all the way from CMS. For some of us that are very, very familiar with Lagos, the train is coming from CMS. It's going to cut across Aja. It's going straight all through from Aja to Sangotedo, Abijo, and down through Lekki, Epe, and of course, Epe is going to be the final stop for this train. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that a notification, because a lot of people are always fond of making costly allegations without having substantial proof to ascertain. So a notification was sent at the beginning of this year, okay, that government plan to start a rail track from, let's just say from Aja down to Epe. Now, what will now be the consequences of this rail track? Now, as at the time I was having this conversation with one of the experienced surveyors that we have in Lagos, and I was very, very enlightened having that conversation with him. Because you see, basically, if you are investing in Lagos, I don't know for other states, for other regions, and of course, that is not to underplay the importance of other locations, but basically, informations are very vital. You see, the safety of your investments, the safety of your real estate is dependent on the expertise and awareness of your real estate advisor. So you can't just go into investments without having an expert, somebody who is fully aware of these plans. So this experienced surveyor, one of the oldest that we have in Lagos, a man I respect so much, and I asked him that, what does this notification implies? And he told me, he said, Adejare, this is what it implies. He said, according to the plan, because I've always said it in all of my videos that Lagos is not just a place you encroach and you start building. There is a master plan. And I said it, if you have been following all of my old, recent, subsequent videos, you will understand that when government want to enforce or reactivate a development plan or infrastructure that they want to do, they always go back to the what? To the master plan. And I said it that if you are doing development, ensure that you are doing it in accordance to the plan that government have for that location. Now, you having a thorough understanding of how this plan is sent or is said to have been enforced is going to save you a lot of losses and damages as you are doing your real estate in Lagos. So the surveyor told me that what they intend to do is to go back to the plan that government have all the way from CMS down to Epe. And the funny thing basically is that if you go to Alausa, more importantly, the Ministry of Town Planning and Development, where all these programs, all these projects are, you will see it there. So, in other words, that means they are set back to the right of the road and to the left of the road. Now, the unanswered question now is, what is or what are the dimensions of this setback? Now, when I was talking about the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, I was the one that said, I told you, because a lot of people always make reference to some of the things I've said, and I have said it, unapologetically, that every information that I have given you, I'm confident of the fact that I have this information from one of the top organs, so I know what is going on. Now, ideally, to the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, the ideal setback was supposed to be 120 meters from the road. Even as at that 120 meters from the road, that one is a clear indicator that the government does not want anything closer to that road. Now, a lot of people, I love the fact that when we have important conversations like this, I like the fact that we have interactions, we share ideas, we learn from each other. And a lot of people said, Adejaya is not realistic. How can they say 120? Don't you know the size of the 120? It's about almost the size of half of a standard pitch. Why is government doing that? Now, you see, a lot of people have asked, why is government doing this? Well, I sincerely don't have an answer. The only thing I told some investors who get to listen is that stay as far as possible from their coastal road. Whether it is going to be 120, whether it's going to be 30, whether it's yet to be 80, that is yet to be seen. And for us to avoid unprepared surprises, let us work with what they've stipulated. Now, the surveyor told me basically that according to the plan of the Lekki-Epe Expressway, they are supposed to have train on the right and also have it on the left. That means train conveying people from CMS down to Epe, and the one bringing people from Epe back to CMS. Now, whether we are going to have it on both tracks, that is yet to be seen. That is yet to be seen. However, it is in the plan. So it does not matter the kind of protest, the kind of complaint, the kind of things that may happen. It is expected that as you are doing any form of construction, whether you are building your house or anything in Lagos, it is always important that you revert to the plan so that you can ascertain if you are working in accordance to the plan. Now, I was told to the right, the setback from that Lekki-Epe Expressway is 90. And to the left, there's a pipeline that is being constructed, whether the pipeline is to channel cables, but for some of people that have driven past the Lekki-Epe Expressway, you see this pipeline. They said the setback is supposed to be 35 meters. If you look at some real estate companies who are fully aware of this, you will see that these guys left as many setback before they started erecting their fence. So the question now is, when do they intend to start enforcing this? So what is not applicable basically is that if you certainly started hearing distress sales along these proposed areas, before you pay to get a surveyor to do everything for you to verify, it's just 50,000. They will pick the information, they will check, they will take it back to Alausa, they confirm, ascertain if the property is not on the right of way. Remember, I told you that anything that is on the right of way is what is due for what demolitions. So if they are offering you a property of 200 million, 300 million, it's not just because of the fact that that property, the owner is tired of it. It could be, let me use the word, it could be that there might be tendencies that this property may fall inside the right of way. So what I'm trying to say basically is that whenever you start having there is a need, okay, or you start seeing adverts on some distress sales along this location, before you pay, please go and check. I'm not saying you should not buy, just check, ascertain, and be sure that the property is not along that setback and is not falling inside the right of way. That's point number one. Then point number two, if you are buying, I know you like property facing the road. I like it too, because it's an hot shot for businesses and the likes. For people selling facing the road, ascertain as well. It is very important. Ascertain as well. Because you see, is this impending danger is not obvious yet. We cannot see it yet, but I can tell you it will happen. So these are some of the things that I want to talk about today. So now that you know that this is what is happening, now a lot of people have messaged me, some privatized me and said, Adijari, it cannot happen. I think those big houses. I'm not saying all building houses. What I'm saying is that anything that falls inside that setback, inside that right of way will go. So I'm not saying they are going to break your house. And what I'm saying basically is that ascertain, just be sure that you are not, or your property is not inside that setback. If it's not, then there's nothing to worry about. So this is it. So when they intend to do it, or how soon they intend to do it, is what I cannot tell. But I can tell you, I have the memo, I have the information, and I think I'll be posting it on this channel so you can read it. It's there. In fact, it was an official publication that carries the Lagos State logo, and of course the signature of the person in charge of making that announcement is there. So I'm going to post it on my stuff so you see it. So it's not a case of whatsoever. And it's just no. I know that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that if you're buying a location that is an emerging location, basically things like this are about to happen. Now, sadly, for people selling properties along the Ekpe Ijebu Expressway, this is also another notification for you people. Now, if you are buying properties along the Ekpe Ijebu Expressway, there is a 1.5 kilometer setback. Now, where does this setback start from? The moment you have crossed that Ekpe Ijebu toll gate, hello, the moment you have driven like this, boom, of course, I think there's a toll now. They now pay, I think, 1,000 personal car. The moment you drove like this and you pass that toll gate like this, boom. When you look to your right, the setback for before any form of development, whoever is selling to you is expected to observe a 1.5 kilometers to the right and a 1.5 kilometers to the left. So anything facing the road along the Ekpe Ijebu might be on the setback. However, I cannot say whether this one is on the setback on this one. So that is the job of a surveyor to check. So that when government, a lot of people are buying without understanding these regulations, and it's quite pitiful. Do you know one thing? The saddest of all is that some of these people selling to you may not be aware. As in, it's, what can I say? So what can I say? They may not be aware, and this is why it's very important that you work with us. We so much care about your investment to the point that anything that can put your investment at risk, we will let you know. We will. So these are some of the important things I would like to share for you. So if you are going towards that Ekpe Ijebu Expressway, the setback is 1.5 to the right, 1.5 to the left. Now, I honestly cannot ascertain where the 1.5 will get to, or the areas that may be affected. Of course, that is the job of a surveyor to ascertain and inform you. But my job basically is to inform you that the Ogun State government too have reserved 1.5 to the right, 1.5 to the left. And the reason why they've done that basically is in case of future development. And other areas of Abeokuta is also, that setback is also applicable in some places. More importantly, the Kobakpe, for some of real estate investors that are running to Kobakpe, that 1.5 kilometer is also applicable in some Kobakpe and other areas of Ogun State. And I'm sure there might be other setback in other neighboring states. You should pay attention to this so that You know, the funny thing about this is that government will only enforce this setback when they want to start construction, whether it is road they want to do, whether it is train, whether it is bridge. There's also for Ado Road, for the Fort Mainland Bridge. So if you're buying in that axis too, you want to pay attention to that as well. So you now see why it is very important that the surveyor is very important. So for some of you that I've given you access, okay, to my surveyors, and you treat them poorly. If you come back, they will charge you. That obviously is on a lighter note anyway. So basically, the enlightenment of this video is to enforce, to ensure, to let you know. Okay, so these are basically, so I'm just going to, I will quickly go to the question and answer segment. In case you have inquiries, you have questions. Oh my God, I have question already. Okay, I have question already. Okay, hold on please, I have question already. Okay, so I have question already, so I'm just going to take some of these questions. So like I said, the dimension of this first setback, the length, the breadth, I cannot ascertain that. I'm not a surveyor. But I can just tell you basically that there's a setback, expect it, and obviously it will. Now, how soon they intend to enforce it is what I don't know. I honestly cannot tell, but I can categorically hold on please, I have hold on please. Okay, so I have few questions. Okay, so the first thing I have here is, what do I do because the company I bought seems not to have control of the properties I bought in 2014? What is the solution? Okay, I think this one is not okay. So when you're sending questions, you can send questions concerning the first thing I talk about, which is 3 important land banking errors to avoid. Then you can also send questions based on the setback. The ones I cannot answer, you can be rest assured that I will consult my surveyor, and in the next episode, by God's grace, on Tuesday, because this is the last live session for the week. By God's grace, next week we're going to have another one on Tuesday. Basically, this live session will enlighten you things you did not know before. I can assure you, Allah, you will get it. So okay, the first thing you want to do basically is that you want to ensure, okay, that the company still have possession of that land. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, okay, is due to the fact that I have seen instances, several instances whereby people have lost possession of their lands and they still give documents. It has happened. However, this is why it is very essential, very essential, that you work with somebody that can give you periodic updates. It's not just about somebody throwing properties at you, or because you see, what many people don't understand is that it's not just buying. What happens after sales? How do I put it now? I don't want to blow grammar. What happened? The post-sales experience is what matters, and that is why I have I have made deliberate efforts, okay, to keep my investors aware. So you want to find out if they have possession of it, and the moment you find, you are able to unravel if they don't. The other mistakes, okay, that some real estate investors have done, that I've seen that they've done, is that they have, how do I put it now? They have not make conscious effort for periodic updates. Excuse me, sorry. So it is very important that you pay attention and work with somebody that can give you periodic updates. Okay, someone that tells you this is what they've done, this is how they've done, because you see, it doesn't just stop at buying. In fact, after you've bought, that's where the work starts. So someone asked me, how can I protect the land I bought? There've been cases of people trying to break in. Okay, now as a real estate investor, if you have bought land, it doesn't matter how long you have that land. It is very important that you take possession. Now, I've said it in almost some of my subsequent videos that what you need to do basically is that you need to take possession. Even if you're not going to stay there, rent it out. You can give it out to artisans, mechanic, workshop, bricklayers, and the likes, or start a farming. Rent it to people, listen to people that can use it to do farm. Now, when there is possession, when there are activities, okay, on that land, it's a clear indicator that you are communicating to Omonile that I have not forgotten that I have that. You know, most of them usually have this mindset that if they have sold land to you 1, 2, 3 years, you are not there. Many people assume that the person they sold land to is there, so they see it as an opportunity to grab that land and resell it. But when you put activities there, okay, even if it's a place that is still developing, give it to farmers, lease it to people, let them plant cassava, let them plant corn, let them just see that. See, the moment when there are activities on your land, okay, it shows them, it's a reminder that you bought, you have not forgotten that you have land with them. So it is very important you look at this. Okay. I still have more questions. Okay, so the question, the line to send your question is +234 802 132 7360. So you obviously want to look at that. So I have some couple of questions. God help me. Okay. So this person says, what are the basic things? You want to go? So the next question says, what are the 3 basic things about the... Okay, this question is kind of clumsy. I really, if you can resend it, I honestly don't mind. I'm struggling to understand what they're trying to say. Okay, so what is the standard setback for the Ekpe Ijebode? You mentioned that. Okay, the standard setback on the right, Ekpe, the moment you cross that Ekpe Ijebode is 1.5 to the right, 1.5 to the left. So that is the standard setback. Then for the Lekki Ekpe Expressway, I think 90 meters to the right, yes, and 35 meters after the pipeline to the left. So you definitely want to add. And another thing you should do if you're planning to buy properties is let your surveyor just, for the sake of safety, let them reaffirm. Okay, let them reaffirm. Let them check. It is important they check so that there won't be stories that touch. It's just that. So this is where I'm going to be drawing today's episode of Property Matters, the live session. Okay, so for some people who don't know, I'm a real estate professional. I'm not just a consultant, because I've been doing consulting for I think 8 years now, and of course I sell properties too. So I'll be showing you some good verified and safe real estate investment, of course, in my subsequent videos. In case you're interested, of course you can let me know. We'll walk you through the process. And I also want to say a very big thank you to everybody that has been following us. This is one of... Who is there? Don't let this boy come here. So I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that has been following us. Thank you for everybody that has joined, for those that have liked, for those that have shared. I truly appreciate this. And this is where we're going to be drawing today's curtain. Please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, endeavor to do so, because there's a lot that will be coming. What I've done is just one out of several. So it's, and of course from here, from now to the end of the year, you'll be getting updated as to real estate activities in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you very much. See you in my next video. Bye for now. See you on Monday. God bless you.